everyone. Welcome to the after show for the finale of Star Wars, the Nar'Shadaa Shuffle. How are you guys feeling?
We're alive
the whole time. I was sweating the whole time. I
I
want to
thought-
know what the plan originally was, Jesse.
Yeah,
Why did you do that? I don't know.
My character panicked because people knew who he was after he took his helmet off and they originally didn't. So the whole thing where the bet was there, that's why he kind of was like uneasy. And everybody's got guns out and he's like, I got to get out of here. No matter what, I want to get out of here.
So there were
And
two
that's what his goal
plans.
was.
One was to try and play all of you against each other and see if you would end up killing each other. Or two, what would end up happening is Dash had his own plan, and that was to convince Hex and Rain to go aboard your ship, and then he'd lock them in there, and you would be able to escape on their ship, and you would be able to get out of there. And so his plan was one thing, their plan was another thing, and I wanted to see what would happen. And you did a third thing, which was shoot, which I should have expected, and I guess I did because I gave them a lot of firepower. And so that's basically going in at the end. That's what I wanted. I wanted to see what would happen. Dash basically wanted to make sure you were all safe. The idea in his mind is you would take another ship that wasn't your ship, so you couldn't be followed. And I'm not saying that if there was a season 2, you're on a ship that definitely has tracking on it, but it definitely does. And that's why he threw away his comm link, because it definitely was being tracked. And so, I'm just saying, if there was a season 2, Hex would still be around and he'd be very angry with you all. But at least you would have gotten away and not have been, in the other one, you would have gotten away scot-free. Like, they wouldn't be able to follow you. But you managed to escape the Empire still, and everything's good. No matter what, you would have to astrogate your way out. Like, that was the end no matter what, is you had to get past the Empire. So you did that still, which is good. But it would have, there would have been a different, you all would have had limbs intact, and hopefully, or you would have turned against each other. But I never saw that actually truly happening. But I'd figure I'd push it and see what would happen. Yeah, but that's where I thought it was going to go. And so I was not expecting, like, F it, shoot first, ask questions later, which is great. It's super fun.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is in that moment, based on the information that was being disclosed, and you can try and say this was meta or not, but in my character, the way I thought about it is Gar literally came to Quill's side. He knew Ithona wasn't a bad guy at all. And we came into this not knowing each other, so what I would believe or what I wouldn't believe with regard to what you were, Maggie, was beyond the point. I was trying to go off of the information that they said, and basically nothing they had said was wrong, because he knew what he said about him was correct. What they said about Gar basically said was true. You're the only person that did deniability. I tried to deny it.
I didn't say anything. She didn't deny it or say it. She said nothing. She legit said nothing other than defended Dash, and actually didn't out him, but he outs himself.
Well, yeah. When I told him that we didn't find any of the Beskar, I purposefully didn't out Dash in case he wanted to keep it, and then Dash just said that he gave it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh. Okay, well, now Dash is in trouble. But it always seems like Dash is never in that much trouble.
Yeah, so in Quill's mind, the only people he trusted in that moment enough to feel like anything was there were actually Gar and Ithona, but he didn't have distrust in your character or distrust in Dash, aside from the fact that Dash obviously had lied to us multiple times and put us in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, Dash is, out of all of us, is the most untrustworthy person. He has gotten us into a whole boatload of trouble.
Yeah, don't trust Dash. Lesson learned. Don't.
But I think what you were saying though is like there's like something trustworthy, like you can't trust him, and there's something like easier about that than if you're like you're just like, look, Dash. That's why I'm like, as long as we stick with Dash, we'll probably be fine because he always has a way out. He's like the kind of guy where you're like, all right, we gotta. You are sticking by my side because I want to get out.
I can't believe that he saved me. I was like, I was actually, when she was walking over to me, like when you originally were going to have her walk over to me, which you're right, she can't.
She was going to shoot you in the head and end you.
I was going to hold the gun to my head and be like, shoot me, I'm already dead anyway.
Yeah,
that's what
she was definitely going to kill you. Yeah,
that's
it
what
would have been
Sue was going to say. I was like, oh, my final words. I already know what they're going to be. Because if she didn't do it, I was going to shoot myself.
Well,
it's your remaining good limb to put the
yeah, that was what I was going to do.
Well, Dash decided to be a hero in that moment. He blasted a hole in that woman's gun. Holy crap.
I can't believe I rolled the max I could roll on that crit. A 100 on a D100 with the plus 40.
That was bad, man. That could have gotten real bad if no one was there to help you.
Yeah. I honestly want to adjust the dice pool and see if I had to re-roll if we still would have gotten away. I should have gotten away on that first astrogation, but I'm just genuinely curious.
All I'm saying, I removed everything, I think I took everything off.
The good thing was, like, I was worried with the end. Well,
I can do it.
Jesse has told me many crazy situations of RPGs he's played, so I assumed that we were all dead because it sounds like that's not an uncommon occurrence when playing with. Wow.
I even made it more difficult, and we still would have gotten away.
Well, there you go. I was assuming we were all dead anyways, so I was like, all right, well, let's see what we can do, like ways that we can mitigate it. Like when I thought he was about to blow her butt up, I'm like, oh, if I just maybe tackle the droid with the thermal detonator, that will be like the getaway and we'll be fine. But then we just kept getting into more and more stuff. And I was worried that like I was going to have to play my character from his perspective. And I'm like, I haven't bonded as intensely with the crew as like that I would be necessarily willing to give my life for it. But because there was so much, everybody was lying or backstabbing, except for I knew that we, even though we all have our own weird backstories, we're honest with each other. And so like in the moment where everyone's trying to play everybody off each other, it's like, I'm going to defend this guy because I at least know that he is also as innocent in this as I am. And I like that we were able to like work together again in the end to get out. And it's not like we had in a lot of finales, like epic, we were not badasses. We were like limping to survive. And it was still as exciting as if we had like fought a crate dragon and done everything else. And it was just rolls to get out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a Star Warsy thing. It's like the Death Star escape. You're not trying to beat them. You're just trying to blast at them enough that they don't kill you as you get up the gangplank.
You're just trying to GTFO.
I mean, yeah, you're not heroes. You don't have hero moments. You are scoundrels existing in the Outer Rim, and surviving another day is your hero moment. Like, we made it out and we didn't die. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now if you were to start a season 2, it would
just be like Quill and Gar, because like it's gonna go home and Sinceal's like a robot.
Yeah, maybe Ith goes home. Maybe there's a new character, or maybe Ith sticks around. I don't know.
Or maybe the situation is so dire that it's an obligation.
Yeah, the way it sticks around is like they don't make it to Polis Master. They get stopped on the way by something and get like caught up in more wacky hijinks.
Yeah, who knows? The thing, no matter what, is that you would all be given, no matter what happened, you'd be given the obligation to start that Hex Devry is hunting you, and there's a bounty on all 4 of your heads. No matter what.
On top of our other ones?
I mean, yeah, it would be there. Like I'd give you another 10 XP or whatever, 5 XP or something.
Oh, is that?
I'd be like, you know what?
Might as well put it on our sheet, you know? Just
yeah, I'll take the 10
I'd be
XP.
like, this guy is
look how hungry we are
forever.
for XP. We're like, give us the XP.
I never spent my other stuff. How much total did we get?
At the last second. So
I mean, from that you would like, if you got XP just for all of this mission, all of this thing, you'd get 20 total.
Oh.
But you'd have the 5 from a Hex bounty on your heads.
Which is it's just 5.
So you get 15 plus 5.
So we get 20 now?
Yeah, you get 20 XP.
Ooh.
But that's total over the whole thing. We would have got 20.
And then we have a new obligation that is.
Yeah, you would have a new obligation
bounty.
that Hex.
This is my first bounty.
Yeah, Hex
So are-
DeVries wants to hunt you down, and he will
My
pay
first
top
bounty.
dollar.
Hex wants to.
Yeah, Hex is hunting you.
All right, so the end of the
My
mission,
first
we got
bounty
20
too. I just got
XP from
kidnapped a bit ago.
ending this whole thing last episode, right?
What now?
20 XP from the wrap up.
Yep.
Yeah. Total
Okay.
is 20 XP you have, and you also have a bounty for
feel like-
5.
Oh,
I
I
feel
keep
like we're
track
not-
of my
okay,
total. I just keep
so-
adding the 20 to it and then putting the available to the right.
Wait, so
I
now
didn't
I'm
know.
confused. Is this 20
Just
for this whole
only-
camp? I've never spent
I don't
any
think
XP at all.
people are
from
saying
this.
different
You get-
things
No,
that
just
mean
only
the same.
add in the available XP. Add 20. So that's how much you have to add in the future if we go forward.
From this, like, but we didn't get 20 this moment, did we, or did we?
Yeah, when you
this
finish
moment we just got
20, you get 15
Okay,
plus
this
5.
moment we received a new 20 XP.
No,
Got
no,
it.
15 plus 5, which is 20. Yeah.
That's 20. Yeah,
20
that's the
total.
same thing. We're
I
saying
know
no,
you're
and then
adding
say
more
the thing
to
I
it.
said.
But
Okay, I'm just
at the
saying,
end
you-
of the last session, we got an XP as
Yeah,
well.
so just
Yes.
add 20 more.
So how much was
What
that
was it?
then? I'm asking for what's the total campaign 4-session XP? Because I didn't
Oh,
spend
not very much.
That's 35.
35. Okay. Papa's gonna get some new talents, or just
But
one.
you are. I
talent?
thought you already added those.
No, I forgot
made-
to last time.
I added
You,
mine.
you
this-
managed
this
to
whole
live,
time.
and you got some experience from this whole thing.
I lost my
In the
blaster,
future,
though.
you soon will probably have mechano bits, if you play the same character. But yeah, there's.
I don't
different-
think I could play with them. They did not trust me. They threw me under the bus.
We
didn't throw
didn't
you
say
under
we
the
didn't
bus.
trust you. We literally were trying to go back and look for you.
It'd be crazy if Sun shows up as an NPC. Then who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Maybe she'll be pretty mad that these people left her. Who knows? So
From her perspective, she doesn't know.
You're.
right?
I
Like,
guess you're right. From your
yeah,
perspective,
from
you didn't
her
know that we
perspective,
tried
she
to.
doesn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that we tried to.
It worked out nicely for Athona because, like, he was gonna have to make the choice to leave Sun behind because there was no chance he was gonna be able to do anything. But then he got shot and was carried up the gangplank, so he is guilt-free.
There you go.
yeah, we'll see what we'll see what the future brings, but that's kind of there's a hint of a bigger story, but also you were just trying to live through this one mission, 'cause that's
Jeez Louise, yeah.
yeah. So we'll see what happens, but there's a bigger world out there, and sadly you're not Luke Skywalker, so you can't do whatever the hell you want and like
appear
save
in other
everyone.
different things or something.
Yeah, you aren't Han Solo who randomly crosses paths with everyone famous in the galaxy.
Yep.
What? We're not.
Fortunately, no. You hear about them though. You've heard.
But
about,
on the
like, some
bright
cool
side,
stuff.
our character development might actually stick.
Oh.
Oof.
Got you, Force Awakens.
Savage.
Gotcha.
Savage.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah, I mean, you hopefully, yeah, you just were caught up. You were 4 characters caught up in a bigger story. Is basically the gist of what this was supposed to be.
Anybody
Because
in the
you're kind
live
of like-
chat, do you have questions for the show? Let us know too. Curious to see.
Yeah, just hit Davis with an oof every now and again.
Yeah, that was a Mustafar level burn there.
I hate you.
I still love that this whole thing, Ith was wearing a little sailor suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he was. I keep forgetting every time. I keep forgetting.
I didn't.
Still
I'll
wearing
never
it.
we ever-
forget.
Arrives on Polis Massa wearing it. They're like, "What is wrong with you?"
Did we ever get some super high quality fan art of him wearing the sailor
I
suit?
think we
'Cause
did. I think
I can't
Miazilla.
Oh God, yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, I think she made one. It was a while ago. I have to scroll back.
It looks kind of cool though. He's got like a Disney Prince vibes from that one.
Yeah, it looked really cute. It was so long ago. I don't know. I was trying to find it.
Oh, did we actually? We got fan art, but it was just normal. If he didn't have.
Yeah, it might have been him just looking normal instead of
Yeah.
having the sailor suit on. So we
I
need
might-
it.
might have missed
Make
it.
the
Might be
fan
somewhere.
art. Or well, maybe we can commission fan art.
Make the fan
if there's
art.
a sequel, we commission it for a poster to be on sale. To
Yeah,
support
there we go.
the show.
All right.
By the
Are there
way,
any questions? Any thoughts that you 4 have?
My brother's in the chat going, Maggie, who is the best brother?
I was gonna ask you if that was.
That's actually my brother.
That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Someone says, what moth thought it was a good idea to blackmail the Hutt?
I mean, well, it wasn't blackmail. Are you referring to this campaign?
I didn't think there was specifically.
Yeah, there's no blackmail on a Hutt. It was just then Devin wanted to use the Beskar to buy his way to freedom with the Empire because he didn't want to be caught up in something way worse than just working for the Hutts.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Then Devin was like, he's just a businessman. He don't want to be involved in some dark stuff.
He says as he sits at his Sith desk.
Well, it was given to him as a gift. If you would have rolled correctly, that would have led you.
I tried.
That would have led you down a path.
Correctly, that's great.
So, like, all the stuff that was in his office, if you would have actually had rolls that would have worked out, basically, it's a lot of things that were gifts from Dryden Voss, and he works for some bad dudes, and so you would have seen some you would have gone down the rabbit hole of darker stuff, and you've been like, oh, this guy's involved in some dark
Big
Jedi
stuff.
badness. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is why he wanted out. He wanted to get out of there, and he didn't want to be a part of it anymore.
I like the idea that at some point he's there sitting at his Sith desk and he's like, I've made a terrible mistake.
Probably, yeah.
Doesn't-
Definitely 100%.
My character doesn't know that there's like these new partnerships happening with these
You're solo on the
yeah, like I don't know all this stuff
hierarchy.
that's going on. I'm like so low.
No, you have no clue. This is like
There's so much shade.
6 dudes in the galaxy are truly aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Well,
And I tried
technically
to
7.
call 4 of them.
It's called most of them. He's like, hey, bro, how's it going?
Yeah,
All I was missing was like one other dude and Darth Maul. That was.
Yeah, you would have, if you would have just called in and been like, yo, Maul, what up? That would have been
You just
great.
have us hold your sign up.
Cool
Yo,
legs,
Mom,
bro.
What's up?
Great legs, dude. Like, thanks.
Why can't I breathe? Uh-oh.
Yeah, but there's no way, like, even on your best rolls in your best version of this campaign, there's no way that you'd be like, and then we find Dryden Voss and Darth Maul. It never would have happened. I never would have been like, yeah, of course you guys are involved in that story. Like, no, you are not in any way even remotely close to being involved in that story. You are just like victims of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Makes
I never
sense.
would have been like, yeah. Then the 4 of you throw down with Darth Maul. It would have been like, and you're all dead. All right, well, that was fun. All right, good campaign.
We walk
everyone.
into
Picks
the
us all
room,
up and
we
drops us
die.
and we die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He strangles all of you. The end.
I appreciate your respect for the scope and scale of the universe, and I wish that everybody else that had control over Star Wars was as
Respectful and understanding.
yeah.
I detect
Yeah,
a degree of salt.
I do another Star Wars RPG, and I'm trying to make it end at 40 episodes, for Star Wars reasons.
Yeah.
And
feel you.
they literally they found they made it their objective to find the first light and get aboard the ship, and they just had great rolls and got into Dryden Voss's office, and I had to be like, okay, this has to be after the events of Solo for any of this to make sense. So I was like, I can't believe this is where we're going. So even then I was frustrated. I was like, F it, we're in. This is where we're going now. So
that's the thing with players. Sometimes you just don't know what they're gonna do, and you just have to go with it.
Well, the thing with Star
what
Wars
you're
is they made
talking
yeah, they made a crime boss be on an epic scale. So now everyone who plays Edge of the Empire is like, well, let's go find that crime boss. You're like, oh, goddamn. So they went there, but basically what I had done is I cleared it just to do the thing Davis was talking about. They basically found it after the events of Solo. So there weren't cool parties there anymore. And it wasn't the cool crime lord thing. It was literally, what's her name? Kira or whatever her name was. It's she was no one was there. They found an empty ship with a few guards on it. And so
We know
they
that
go,
Krang is singing it in Nar'Shadaa now.
yeah. So there's no one there. and they got to like explore and look around his room and see cool stuff and like get the moment. But I was like, you're not gonna go there and be. So what ended up happening is they went to
across the table like Godfather.
Yeah, I was like, they're not gonna be like a cool moment here. We're like, no. So they went to the desk though, which is like the exact replica of what was in Van Deven's office, and in that they were trying to like mess with the controls, obviously trying to meta and like turn on the thing to contact. And I was like, oh hell no. So they pressed the wrong button and activated like a murderous droid, and it almost killed them all. And like, you know, they had to run. And that I was like, all right, you want to do this? A giant droid shows up with like 8 blasters, and I was like, let's have fun. So yeah, for sure, I definitely don't want people on a if this was the version of Star Wars RPG where you were Jedi, that's a different thing.
Yeah, then it's a different story.
But I want to keep it the same vibe of when all those dudes fought Vader, for example, or the most like recent Mandalorian, like things like that, where
I like the
vibe
story
is
of
like,
just like smugglers doing like smuggling things too. It's fun.
And that's what it should be.
Yeah.
And yeah, this one is just for people caught up in the, like, it's like if 4 randos got caught up in the actual Star Wars story, they'd be like, what the hell is happening here? Why? Like, this is, y'all are crazy. This
we could barely survive an encounter at like a shitty bar
with biker people.
I almost passed out in a little
basket.
Yeah.
You had to drive a 7.5 foot passed out dude around.
We're
not ready.
If
We're not
Thona got
ready for the big.
kidnapped, oh my god.
Thona got kidnapped.
Yeah.
Like that guy was
that's
not
why.
like I beat him in the casino. He just didn't. He was like, no, I'm taking it.
Well, there was another way that like the other option was that he would lose to you.
He did lose to me.
Right, but I mean like that last round if he would have lost.
I didn't
right?
want to play the last round.
Right, but he wanted to.
I
and
already
so if he would have
won.
lost.
But that's what I'm saying. Like at that point when he wanted to do another round, that was just him. That was beyond.
That was him just being a dick. Yeah. He's the guy who runs the casino. Again, you're just like people in the galaxy, and this is a guy who runs a multi-billion credit casino.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
like at that point, I had already won, and it didn't matter. Yeah.
But what was going to end up happening in that scene is as you won that round, that final round, that like all or nothing thing, he would have instead taken you to his office. And been like, oh, you piqued my interest, or whatever the hell that damn line is. And then he would have taken you and left Ith standing there, and you would have been in his office instead.
Okay. So either way, someone's getting kidnapped.
Yeah, it would have been better.
Maybe you could have perceived some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not
Phantom?
I don't know.
I mean, honestly, the way I set it up in my mind is that I didn't think you'd split the party at all. So I had the 2 places, and no matter where you went, you would never get the full story. So it was like, if you went to the apartment, you would have, and he wasn't there, you would have found the body with the container with nothing inside of it, right? Just the rocks. And that would have been like, what does this mean? Right? And then there were the droids there to give you a hard time. If you went to the office, you would have found all this information about, he's contacting the Empire, and he apparently works for not just one crime family, but all the crime families. And you would have like delved deep into the fact that like there's some weird Sithy shit going on here. And there would have been, you would have been like, what does this mean? And you would have had to go to both places eventually, but it would have been a thing that I assumed, you would have taken a whole group to do. I had no clue you were going to split the party like that. I thought you were going to like do a whole, all right, we're going to have an episode where we're going gambling. We're going to have an episode where we're sneaking into an apartment. And you were like, all right, 2 of us are going to go down to this bar and we're going to beat up this guy and take his key. And the other 2 of us are going to dress up like sailors and we're going to go gamble. I was like, all right, cool. So yeah, it certainly, it took just as long to do it, but it made the story a little bit more like it was happening at the same time, which is fine.
It kind of like had that.
I liked it.
Like, cutting between multiple groups. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I could really see like this being like a film. Like it was cool. I liked it.
Well, I hope that everyone who watched enjoyed. It's certainly one of those things. What is this question?
This is my
How
brother.
would you balance each faction in a small story to create bigger picture, but keep it contained with giving more depth?
That's a very long question.
Well, I mean, the basic gist is because there are all these different small factions in Star Wars in general, the way you can sort of give them more power and create a story using them is, say like we are on the run from the Pikes, for example, and then have the story be based around the Pikes. And you don't have to include the Shadow Collective, but the world you delved into involved them, right? It was part of the plot point of like, the explanation is why does this guy want the Beskar, right?
What's their
and
motivation?
why doesn't he? Yeah, it's just background information to explain character motivations, and that's it. I mean, there's you technically. The things you would be dealing with would be the actual Pikes or the actual Hutts, or like, right? It wouldn't be, there would never be a scenario where they would view you as such a terrible threat that they would be like, send our fleets after them, right? Like, there's never a moment where you go up against a fleet of a bunch of different crime lord ships, right? Unless it was like season 8 and you had created like a smugglers guild and you were like, we must free the Outer Rim, like then you've earned that shit. But right now you're just like, boy, we got this crappy ship and we're just trying to live.
Loot some Beskar.
Yeah. And so there's a huge difference in what you can actually do. And that's, I think, doing lots of episodes, doing like a long series. Over time, you can sort of craft a story that can get to that point. But if you're doing 4 episodes, it's like, we got hired for a job. And there's a really great, what is it called? There's a really great campaign this guy made that is designed to, I think, be roughly the same amount of time as what we did. And it's called like the Great Something Heist. And it's a Nar'Shadaa hover train. And it literally is, the job is you have to get aboard. So you like plan it and you execute, and it's just, you have to get aboard the hover train. You have to loot the stuff, get off the hover train. And it's literally the beginning of Solo, but it was created before that, which cracks me up because I'm like, maybe they read that and made that the beginning. And so yeah, there's a lot of, even if you watch Mandalorian, the episode where they infiltrate the prison ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's straight up just every character in that is a Star Wars RPG trope. Every single one. Every single one's an RPG trope. And that's the same thing, right? You can make little small stories like that. And in this one, for example, if you had never gone to the casino office, you never would have known how high up this like story went. It would have been like there was no Beskar, and it was given away by Dash, and he might have said like, I gave it to Mandalorians, but like you would never be like, oh, I can't figure out why Than Devin wants out of this, right? There would have been, you never would have known. And so it was only because someone decided to be real snoopy that you got that aspect of the story. But it isn't like necessary for the story at all.
I still love this scene where he's like, well, I can't talk to him. He's just like holding up signs.
It's like, I can't talk to him, but I want to mess everything up, so here.
Oh, God.
Yeah, when
the time that
the
time that Athona called the Imperium, what could have happened?
Yeah, when you called the Empire, essentially you let them know like they wouldn't have been above Nar'Shadaa at the end.
Yeah, that did. Every call I made things worse.
Yeah, you just made it worse.
Because I alerted them to Than Devin being dead.
So they would have
he was dead.
They would have been able to get away quicker, right?
That means that technically you killed the other crew.
Yeah,
you did.
Damn,
you murdered them.
I didn't know he was on the other end of the
just
line.
wanted to kill him. It's fine, like it's cool. He's just
they're all dead. They all blew up.
I was like, whoever this is too, he really wants to be able to call them in an emergency, so maybe it's someone who will come and help us. Blaster sirens. Oh no,
comms.
In danger. Marching?
You still have those comms from the Empire, by the way.
Oh, I do I?
You do.
Yeah, you have that.
Hey, by the way, I've got like 7 comms to call the Empire for backup. They'll kill you if they arrive, but you know.
Oh my God.
But the idea with the Empire is that they were going to be his out. And so I even had an Empire character that if you would have gone a different direction, Dawn Kren is an Empire. She's with the ISB. She would have met y'all, and that would have been a thing. But she had no, the Empire was alerted that there was trouble in Nar'Shadaa, so they sent 2 Star Destroyers. So yeah, that's the story goes where the story goes.
I mean, the best thing is like, well, I don't know how deep. Chiss stories, they're always like, and I don't know how it would have worked out with Sun, but I'm like, Gar and Ith probably would have been fine if we had dealt with the Empire. Like, we're like small. I mean, Gar at least is like small fry compared to them. Like that almost would have been better. We'd almost be safer with the
Chiss,
Empire.
they would have taken for sure.
Yeah, you're just like too much of like a cool,
Unique
like oddity.
thing.
Yeah. And Sun, I don't know. The Empire deals with all of the criminal organizations too, though. So there might be.
I mean, if you would have dug deep enough, you would have discovered.
I don't have any like criminal actions behind me other than a debt to somebody who let me go. Like that's this. I don't have any other criminal things. Like I don't have. Well, now I have a bounty on me, but I didn't before, prior to this. Like I don't know. Like no one was out looking for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you deal with the Empire, just in general, like during this time period, just to stick with like within canon, the Black Sun and all these different groups technically have deals with the Empire because they're providing them with, all the shit
Weaponry
necessary to
and
make
shit,
a Death Star. And they're doing it, under the table illegally. But what the Empire doesn't know is that all these groups have banded together to secretly like do their own thing, which is basically because Darth Maul is like a punk and it's just like, I'm gonna kill everyone because I'm mad. And so yeah, that's like a totally different thing that they don't know about. And so but they all, I mean, like if you probably put in a call, depending on who answered on the other line, I feel like a Faline in the Empire would be fine, right? I feel like they'd be like, oh, you're Black Sun? Okay, cool.
Honest question. Whose obligation was actually rolled?
The obligation was Maggie's for this last one.
Gotcha.
And I was trying to push her to betray all of you. And so I wanted her to fire on one of you, which is why I was trying to set her up as being like, she's actively going to kill all y'all. But didn't work out.
I would not. She knew she would not have won that fight with herself. She'd have to find some other way. And actually, when the two of them when Hex and them were like putting their guns on them, I was like, this might work in my favor. But then Quill
he panicked.
I was like, oh my god, this is okay, maybe not.
I loved it. It was and as long as you weren't using the light side point against us, I was like, this feels like what a young, scared person in this situation would do.
I loved it. I'm just saying, I'm talking about her obligation in that situation. Like,
yeah.
It turned the tide of things. Like, and she was like, oh, well, it's a whole nother situation now.
I will say, if you look at the rolls, that black die saved some of you, including myself.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got pretty fucked up. I don't know if I would call that saving. I lost an arm and a leg for this situation.
You're mostly dead, not completely
not dead.
Yeah.
I literally paid an arm and a leg.
Dare I say, saved by a dashing rogue who, let's be honest, is just
my
about
savior. He's my hero now.
Yeah, just
someone asked in chat. They're like, if Sun survives, I think I have survived because you took me to the hospital with cyber limbs. What do you think she's gonna do next? And I was like, I don't know if she'd be back with this group. It would depend on if they tried to reach out again. But like, I think she'd probably be chilling with Dash. Like, her and Dash would be bros. He saved her life, and I think she's never been given that kind of kindness before. Like, her whole life, she's been just like part of like this other world where she just has done other people's biddings.
Yeah, Dash is a character that exists in all my Star Wars RPG things, and he is connected to at least one character at all times. And so in the other one that's wrapping up, Pocket, another streamer, is like a bounty hunter is connected to him, and they have like an on again off again romance, but they hate each other.
What if Pocket's character finds out about my character?
It's the same time period. Oh yeah, same time.
A lot of drama.
They literally hate each other, but every time they're on like on screen together, they constantly flirt, and it's terrible because like they don't like each other, but it's like, like WB drama bullshit, and he's still just as not trustworthy. He will literally set them up and then be like, you know, I did it for your own good though, right? He's like a really shitty version of Han Solo, or and of Lando, like
episode 7. Sorry.
but like he is not ever trustworthy. Like he never does anything truly out of the kindness of his heart. He always does it for another reason. And so like him saving you, I'm sure if there was a follow-up, we'd find out that the reason he did it was like, who even knows?
Yeah, like he got paid.
Now
my father paid him to do it or something. Like,
it definitely.
I'm part of so the background for her is actually she's part of a noble family who, it's like a whole other hot mess. Like they want her to go back and she doesn't want to.
He would have read that situation.
She's on like a sabbatical.
Yeah, he would have read that situation not as I'm saving this poor woman from dying or like I'm a good guy. He would have been like, I just learned that she's part of the Black Sun, and if I save her ass, boy, that's gonna look good for me. That's one less crime syndicate chasing me.
Yeah.
And so like he always only looks out for himself.
For sure.
But I do believe though, like he did the Mandalorian thing because how cool would it be to have Mandalorians in your debt? Like that would be sick to have them.
Yeah.
But I do believe that Dash does like kind of think of himself as a hero right now. Like it's all for himself, but I believe that Dash really is like, you know what? You are a little bit of a hero.
I think he feels that unjustly, like unjustified all the time. I think he sees himself as the hero of Star Wars.
Hero complex. Yeah.
I think he thinks
so many people died or will die because of what he did. Like there will be hundreds of people dead for this Beskar, and he's still like, yep. Every now and then you gotta be a hero.
My work here is done.
Yeah. I mean, in his mind, the people that are dying are probably all the bad people that.
Yeah, he thinks they're villains.
Oh, sure.
So.
Yeah. I did a thing as like I played as him in a campaign, and he only shot hands. Because he thought like he was like, well, I'm not gonna kill these people. They're good people, so I'm only gonna shoot them in the hand. Like that was his thought process.
You know that there are non-lethal like bullets.
Yes, you can
right, but he didn't want to do that.
Okay.
He just felt like he should shoot them to disarm them. So every roll was one difficulty higher, and he would just always try to shoot their hands, and it was like the dumbest thing ever. But that's like the kind of idiot that he is. He justified it as, look, these people are like good people, but I really need this money, so I'm just gonna shoot them in the hands. And yeah, you could have been like, but if you could just stun him, and he's like, yeah, well, that wouldn't look like I meant business. He's that guy. He's a piece of shit.
It. I think to wrap up,
I got one more thing before we go. I don't want to leave people with, because like I always struggle when it comes to naming RPG characters, because I get way too overthinky about it and try to like put something together. But what I realized is George Lucas is also terrible at naming characters, which is why like halfway through the first Star Wars, he ran out of names and we're just like, okay, Luke, Ben, Owen, whatever. I've done enough fancy names. That's why the bad guy is just Dark Invader with a couple of letters changed. And then all Sith are like Dark Insidious, Dark Maul, his head is a maul, and like just not imaginative at all. And then in one case, in episode 1, when he was writing it, he made the character of Newt Gunray.
Do it. All right. Before he gets back, I want to let you know, Lucas is so bad at naming names. I knew it.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
It is Savage Opress.
His name is Savage Opress. It is out of control.
One time when he was like, he decided not to use that strategy and changed it a bit was when he made the character Newt Gunray, who is named after Newt Gingrich and Ronald Ray Gun. So what I did was I continued the tradition.
Yep.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that.
And my name is an anagram of a modern politically relevant person.
I need to point out that if you really want to dive into Star Wars naming tropes, a name like Thandevan Sar is the modern version of Star Wars, like naming tropes.
Yeah.
Or Dash Barand is literally, they were just like, well, yeah, you know, Dash Rendar, same thing. like, or Jan Air, or like, just doesn't matter. All I'm saying is there's a lot of goofs you can make about the new canon being just like a little bit just like we're gonna steal from previous things. So whatever.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, so just an anagram. I'm a big fan of hiding references in plain sight in words, as long-time fans will know.
Sauvage Oppress.
And it also like it leaves a little Easter egg sometimes when you like find out those little things, right? Too. So as much as you hate them, you kind of like them a little. Just a little bit. But I think to wrap things up,
Sith artifacts.
One of the questions that people have is like about the system, and I think like that's kind of a good question to like end this on, is like what people thought of the system, because I think for some of you this is new. I know for Jesse and me this is like something we played quite a few times, so
it's still let's be real, it's still after all these times confusing. You always like miss a thing or forget it, and it's not because this is a weird system that the dice, once you get the core concept of what the dice are so easy to read. It isn't like you have to think about what would be a success or not. Like, it's so visually easy. And then you look over at a sheet of like 500 things that can happen from the dice, and you have to read it like you are reading tea leaves. It's crazy.
It is.
But I'll let
they
you
mean
guys
different things in different situations. So, but that's the part that I love about it, because I think from my perspective, it's a great story using like a tool. Obviously we didn't explain everything that way. Like a lot of times you can like explain like why you gave that, how you gave that advantage to somebody and that kind of thing. Obviously we're kind of just trying to move it along, otherwise we'd be here forever. But it does provide a lot of like very interesting failures or interesting successes that you wouldn't get with just like a flat like D20 system or something like that.
Yeah. I guess I'll go. I both like it and hate it. And the reason I both like it and hate it is the fact that like you can be an actual like super expert at something, and the dice have blanks. So like the yellow have blanks. So like if you look at going back to my original astrogation roll, I actually rolled really well, and I actually I have a thing that removes a black. I had 1 yellow, 2 green, and 2 blue. Now blues have a ton of blanks, but because the purple rolled 2 double failures, that's why I failed. And it's like, I'm actually good at that, but no. And that's where in line, like, for me, it makes more sense in, like, the 5e rule set. It's like, when you're good at something, you get the plus. So, like, if you're going to roll...
Yeah, but in 5e, you can have, like, a +7 to roll and still, like, because of the RNG, just be bad.
Right, but the percentages to me from when I've watched people play the system and stuff like that, the percentages make more sense on that than they do this. Now, with that said, at the same time, I love the stuff where you can add story to it, you can embellish, you can do all these different things. Like you get to choose how a triumph works. The GM gets to choose what a despair does, or all the advantages and all of that. I love the way it creates that teamwork ability where you like think about stuff and it's more strategic. But there, to me, it's, and I'm still so new to it, that it's like a love-hate relationship.
I just love it. I probably have the least RPG experience, especially recently, of everybody here. But I love the different versions of D&D, but this is like a whole other way. It's, to me, it looks like it puts creativity in storytelling and like the fantasy, not like high fantasy, but like just the fantasy aspect of it in the forefront, instead of just sort of like cold, dispassionate dice rolls where you're just like hit or miss. You can do things where it's like, okay, well, you didn't hit, but you got a bunch of triumphs. And so you could be like, well, my character might have like swung and missed, but it looked cool and it inspired the next person to try even harder or something. Like it just puts so much more like a pulp into it in a way that is good, even though I actually don't like pulp in my orange juice, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, it, like you could create an opening, or
I don't like pulp in my orange juice either.
You hit something else that makes them unable to see. Like there's a lot of different
just like it makes it fun. And
yeah.
So I'm really into it.
What about you, Bentham?
There's too many symbols. I feel like
I like that's all that's happening. Just too many symbols.
that's
Don't
like
like too many
as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm good, I'm okay. Like, because I played
I want
Fantasy
to put this
Flight's
out there
X-Wing,
to start with.
and that.
I have proposed a Star Wars show so many times, and actually Jesse and I have been in conversation about having this show for a long time. Before, and Bentham was like, no, the system. He just like he did not like the system, whatever. And I got him into
I mean,
it.
like, I never said you
He's in
couldn't
it.
do it. I just was like, I'm not that interested. It was like, I'll do it this time. It's only 4 episodes. I won't go mad in that time.
There's a D&D version of this that uses actual die, but it's also ridiculously complicated. Like, it's just because once you do the things that I think aren't done in Dungeons and Dragons or anything else, which is like, okay, well, there's your person-to-person weapons, then small craft to small craft, and then capital ship to capital ship, and it's like, all right, so how do we modify these? It's just out of control. There's so many dice modifications. It's like there's a reason why it's not used anymore, but it exists. It's just people don't use it. I will say that I have far too many books from it though. I have like the entire
There's 12 books, I think.
Yeah, I have the whole Thrawn trilogy source book that I could use that has all the dice. Like, it exists, but it's just as complicated. And so these die were designed to simplify it, but by trying to simplify it, it's still like it's also very complicated. No matter what you do, Star Wars as a system of thought is like, okay, so you have blasters, but then also you have these people that can stop blasters with their hands and wield swords that do way more damage than a blaster. But how do you know? And then those people can throw the swords if they're strong enough. There's so many.
The people with force powers are super powerful. That's why when we were making characters, I was like, I don't think Jesse's gonna let any of us be force users, because it's just in this system, force users, which I think is right. Force users should be freaking crazy powerful. They are just like so powerful.
Yeah, they're ridiculously strong.
Yeah, the thing is, Jesse, that version of Star Wars D&D was the first thing I learned ever in D&D. Was when I was in high school and my friend Wade had the book and the system, and he just kind of like made a lot of it up as we went.
Sure.
But like that is my introduction to the D&D world, was Wade literally having me do that and playing that for like one night.
I mean, I also think D&D is just ridiculously complicated. You have to be very into the world of D&D. Thankfully, bless the internet, bless everyone who exists, like bless all the amazing people who have made 80 billion D&D sort of guides and things. Like, as an example, playing a cleric for the first time ever, I was like, I don't know what any of this stuff does.
Yep.
And there are countless guides that are like, all right, here's the deal. When you reach level 2, you're gonna have all these different options. Like, ignore this thing's stupid, but this thing's fun. This is gonna be your bread and butter. You're gonna want to take this. And I'm like, thank you for min-maxing this for me. Thank you so much, internet. Oh, it's so, I don't know who these people are, but I want to give them hugs if I see them one day when you can give hugs again, because oh my God, I can't even begin to tell you how stressful it is to play D&D and not understand. And thankfully people out there help you. And then you realize it's like actually much more simplistic than this method.
Oh yeah.
Because this method is like, again, reading tea leaves.
Yeah.
And D&D is just math.
Yeah, the symbols are, I think you have to do symbol plus math action, so it's a little bit more complicated, but I love it. I think it's fun. And of course, we've been going for quite a long time, so I'm going to wrap up this after show for us. I know we could talk forever because we're all a bunch of nerds and it's awesome. We had a great time, so thank you, Jesse.
I've got no one to talk to.
Thank you, Jesse, for bringing us into this wonderful session. And of course, everyone who joined us and everyone who's watched, we appreciate it. If you're interested in more after shows and goodies of that sort, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/rollforit. That is where we are supported the most. Obviously, you can also support us on Twitch right here by subscribing. You get a cool emotes and access to the videos right away, as well as over on our YouTube, you can become a YouTube member and get access to cool emotes, as well as we put all of our content up there for free, other than the stuff that goes on our Patreon. So you know, and even if you can't support us in a monetary means, just being here, watching all of our shows, commenting on our YouTube videos, commenting on our social posts, that makes a big difference for us here at Roll For It. We have a lot of cool things planned for 2021, so if you're interested in checking that out, you know, stay tuned, give us a good follow, and we'll keep you informed on what kind of content we have coming up. You may see these lovely people in the future too as well, so if you are enjoying this and you loved it, definitely let us know in those comments, as well as, you know, by viewing it and sharing it with your friends, because that's really what helps us when we're like, hey, this got 100K views, maybe we should do more of that, you know, that kind of thing. The algorithms, you know, they tell us the things. So we're all just statistics. Jesse, you're not alone.
The algorithm.
All right, we'll see you later. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. PST, 6 p.m. GMT, or not tomorrow. January 7th.
No more shows.
This is the end of it. January 7th, 10 a.m. PST, 6 p.m. GMT, over right here for Ascension. Our chapter 2 begins. Bye.
Bye.